Brothers and sisters, rejoice. Pleasure beyond imagining awaits you. Desire, pride, pain, excess in all things. Partake of perfection. Give yourself to the Dark Prince. Feast on the delights of this world. Submit to SLAANESH.
My friends, the time is finally here. We've waited and waited, but the SLAANESH trailer has finally dropped, which means our obsession can make way for pride. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan, and yeah, I'm excited. Nobody has been waiting for this SLAANESH trailer to drop more than myself, and of course it's already played at the beginning of the video, but we're gonna go over it, stop at little bits and bobs, because there's a few things to discuss, lore-wise and so on, have some proper analysis, and there's also a few screenshots too. Really cool ones. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in.
Come to me. Brothers and sisters, rejoice.
Okay, so we can already stop here because, well, who doesn't want to stop at a Keeper of Secrets sashaying into battle, right? So, this is a Keeper of Secrets, this is one of your Lord choices, but will also be a monster variant too. I'm not sure if they're going to have different styles of look when you look towards the monster and the Exalted, but I'm assuming that this is the Exalted variant. I know a lot of people aren't too keen on them because this is the AOS version of the model, just the more updated one as far as everyone's referred it to, but they look great on a square base, just saying. Now, around we can see the Furies of SLAANESH, which we already expected. We can see Fiends moving low. I absolutely love the Fiend model. I think it's done really well. The whole trailer makes it look cool. And obviously some Exalted Demonettes in the background and so on. Now, I want to talk about the scenery. So what we're seeing here is curved walls, more or less, and this makes me think that we might be near the Six Circles of Seduction, as there's not many walled areas throughout the domain of SLAANESH. Now, I could be wrong here. Keep in mind that there's only one real official bit of lore and artwork going around the whole realm of Chaos itself. Games Workshop never fleshed that out too much because I guess they just thought it would be too complicated. Keep in mind that the realms themselves are always shifting. So what exactly are the Six Circles of Seduction? So the Six Circles act as, well, tests. These are the ultimate tests to see if you will be able to get into the Palace of SLAANESH. Very few demons and mortals could be able to travel through there, even SLAANESHi demons, and not fall to temptation. And if they can, or unless that SLAANESH himself has actually been able to allow for them to pass, then they'll be able to travel to the Palace of SLAANESH. Now, in regards to Warhammer 3, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see all these areas. SLAANESH had the smallest realm, so I do imagine out of all the 4 Chaos realms, we're likely to see a lot more of the SLAANESHi one just because of its sheer size.
Pleasure beyond imagining awaits you.
Okay, so just a quick note here as I want to quickly progress to another part of the trailer. This is an in-game cinematic, and I'm really hoping that all the animations that we're seeing here eventually makes its way to the game, or should be in the game by now, I'm imagining, because, you know, the game's out in February, and it's just mainly because of those Fiends. The Fiends have absolutely awesome mechanics, like, you really couldn't tell how they'd be able to move when you look at the miniatures because it's kind of awkward, but this just makes them look just awesome. Yes, okay, so this is literally leading to the Six Circles of Seduction. That's as far as I can tell here, which means that everything that we saw in the previous Nurgle video was in the Vale of Creatures. The Vale of Creatures itself is pretty much that no man's land. It's still part of SLAANESH, but it's like mostly between Nurgle and SLAANESH, which explains a lot of the cinematics. As, yeah, Creative Assembly have been trying to push a plot through these trailers, and this whole Nurgle versus SLAANESH thing is very, very common, but they have been very subtle about it, which is quite impressive, so well done to them.
Desire,
I'm not stopping for any lore thing here. It's, well, we can see a Seeker of Slaanesh and we can see the Hellstriders of Slaanesh. It's one of the factors I just really like Seekers. They are some of my favorite units on the tabletop. I've painted so many of them, and I'll be very perfectly honest with you, I just can't wait to get my hands on the game so I can play with them. Like, really. I love them on the tabletop. I want to see if I'll love them here too. We'll talk about the cultist a little bit later on in the video. Right now, my attentions are towards this particular Seeker and what is either the Herald of Slaanesh mounted on said Seeker or an Allurus, which would be that of the hero. Keep in mind that the Allurus is the old unit champion for the Demonettes, so it's likely to be the hero like everyone else has had theirs being elevated to hero. We know it's a spellcaster, that was expected. It looks pretty interesting. Obviously, what they've done is add in some fins and stuff to the head. I mean, would you call that fins or would you call it something else? Just to make it a little bit different, of course, because, well, yeah, the Demonettes, they're all going to kind of look the same. This is the same issue that we had, for example, with the Plague Bearers and the Bloodletters too. I think it's quite nice. It's obviously quite different, but still fits with the theme. She looks great. It's nice that she's going to be a spellcaster. I'm assuming, like Slaanesh had on the tabletop, it will either be you can get one with the Lore of Slaanesh or the Lore of Shadow. Both of them should be decent lores. The Lore of Shadow we've already used in Warhammer 1 and 2, and it's pretty decent. I'm just a big fan. I'm just really happy that we're seeing a lot of really cool Slaaneshi stuff today.
Excess in all things. Partake of perfect.
So unless Creative Assembly decide to really blindside us, this is the Cultist of Slaanesh, and yeah, she's a Dark Elf. I mean, yeah, we've known this because of the last spotlight with the Nurglings, but it's still trying to register in my mind, because obviously that's a 6th edition thing. That's obviously way back then in the Storm of Chaos. So if this is the case and we're getting a Dark Elf, Morathi Slaaneshi rework when? Like, that's my main thing here. I really don't think that Dark Elves fans would be disappointed if Morathi got a Slaaneshi makeover and was made to have a different type of playstyle, meaning that you could play Dark Elves again and have a completely different experience. Plus, you know, the 6th edition list from the Storm of Chaos was actually pretty fun, so yeah.
Son, give yourself to the Dark Prince.
The more we go through this, the more cool animations we're watching, especially because of, well, you know, it's Slaanesh, you're expecting a bit more flair. I just really hope that we see this in-game, because it would be really disappointing to see all this in a trailer and then get nothing of that, you know? No Siege of Carthage. We can also pretty much see, yeah, the Exalted variants are likely to have the extra hair, which is fine, I guess, unless they're going with the other way. But generally the ones without hair were just the ones that you get in the box. Either way, this is going to be the list with the most of the same unit in a sense, because you're going to see a lot of Demonettes, and that's mainly because, well, the Slaaneshi roster was small, but you're going to see a lot of Chariots, so yeah.
Feast on the delights of this world.
Okay, so here we can see two of the biggest staples of the Slaaneshi roster, and actually some of my favorite units. They were annoying to paint, I must admit, but hey, we've got the Seeker Chariot and the Exalted Seeker Chariot. The Seeker one is the one with just 2 Seekers, and the Exalted Seeker Chariot is the one with extra blades and 4 Seekers. I'm not too sure if it's been shown in other trailers. I'm just getting a little bit concerned, little bit. We haven't seen Hellflares, have we? Unless we have, and if we have, someone please let me know in the comments below, because this is actually kind of important for me. They are like a staple, like one of the biggest ones. They're just really good, and I'm really hoping that they're not getting missed out. Unless they're saving that for a DLC, which is fine, because, well, let's be honest, all Chariots in the Slaaneshi army kind of did the same thing. It's all just a bunch of moving razor blades, but yeah.
Submit.
Okay, so the trailer's almost done. There's just a few things to talk about. First up, the 2 Keepers of Slaanesh are in the background. One's got a spear, one's got a sword. They've both got shield though, so it could very likely be that they're both Exalted Keepers and they just have a different weapon variant. Though it could also be that one's the Exalted and one's the Standard. Either way, I guess we won't know for sure until we actually get the roster reveal, and I'm fine with that. They still look cool, they've got great animations. Now, let's talk about Big Boy Nakari over here. He just looks awesome. His intro with that little spin and all that was just cool. This is a character I've been waiting for a long time. I might not be that keen on him as I personally wanted a Zazel, but everyone has expectations on what character should be first or not. But still, he looks great considering that that he never had a model. This is a new look. It's based on old art and giving it a new feel, and it looks absolutely awesome. Big fan of this look, and yeah, I mean, he looks like he's out there to do damage. I love the sword too, it just looks great. And finally we have this, before we move on to some screenshots. This is likely to be the loading screen for SLAANESH, which makes a lot of sense. We can see banners, which is always a shame because we never really get banners in game. What's curious to me is that on the side. Alright, so look at the Seeker, the one that's closest to the right hand side. There is a monster there with a tongue sticking out and so on. I'm not sure what that is. It's likely to be a Chaos Spawn, but it looks very different to normal Chaos Spawn. I'm not sure if that's going to be something new or it's just art and that's it. But then again, you know, if you expected an art, you expect something there. I'm really, really curious because it looks bigger than a spawn. Like, it looks a lot bigger than a spawn. And it looks hunched over. I'm honestly having trouble trying to picture what that actually is. It's super, super weird. Either way, the art looks cool. I'm a big fan of all this pink. It's just nice. The SLAANESH colors were always really, really cool. And everything looks pretty grim. Now, let's go and talk about the screenshots, because Creative Assembly did supply us with, I believe it was 3. Okay, so the first screenshot, we have what's likely to be my thumbnail because it's a great shot. This is super cool. You can just basically see legions of marauders, legions of Seeker riders and so on. It's just really, really stylized. And this is how you always imagine the SLAANESH forces, just sheer fast numbers surrounding you, but coming at you from just a massive, overwhelming force. I am such a massive fan of those marauders on foot with the spears, well, mutations and shield. Like, you have no idea how much I've always wanted those on the tabletop and we never got them. We still don't have them in Age of Sigmar too, so I'm hoping that they'll eventually show up in Old World because, yeah, they look great and it's something that the SLAANESH forces do need. Okay, so now we have a second screenshot, which we've got 2 Keepers of Secrets, a bunch of units, and they're about to go meet with Nurgle's forces. You can't really see them too well, but there's a big, great unclean one on its way. This is where we start to get a proper look at the realm of SLAANESH itself. It's likely that this is in the northern parts of the realm, where we expected them to meet with Nurgle, and yeah, it's looking great. Everything is looking exactly how I imagined the realm to be. Keep in mind, again, there was barely any art for this, so this is really, really well interpreted, and yeah, I'm a big, big fan. And finally, we have a scenery shot, which is just freaking gorgeous. Okay, so that's the Palace of SLAANESH itself. The only little bit of Realms of Chaos art that we have points it as that little tiny bridge going to the palace, so yeah, this is very much that. It's very unlikely to be the Marcher Fortress, so this is definitely the Palace of SLAANESH. This is just really, really cool. I am so pleased with how this looks. I'm imagining that this is a shot from the survival battle itself, because we're going to have to attack the realm of SLAANESH like we did with the realm of Khorne and so on. And yeah, if we get a shot like this throughout that, that's going to be great. I'm going to be very, very happy with that. Anyways, so we've talked about the trailer, we've talked about the screenshots, and now we have some information about how they're going to play in-game. Not a lot of information, unfortunately, but hey, it's still something, so let's discuss. So I was supplied a Word document by Creative Assembly, which I'm assuming is going to become a blog for you guys. There's a few different sections there. First, we have the SLAANESH legendary lord, N'Kari. They finally confirmed his name, but at this point we all knew it was him. So a little bit of information here. N'Kari, the Arch-Tempter, scours the immortal and mortal realms to experience the ultimate sensation and taste ecstasy in its purest form. On the battlefield, he's an extremely fast and vicious Exalted demon that excels at hunting isolated enemy characters and units. His unique passive ability, Harvester of Souls, heals him whenever an enemy unit has been fully killed nearby. Okay, that's not too bad. I wonder how that's going to work, because obviously it's going to have to be within a sphere of influence, I'm imagining. And does that mean a full unit, so it doesn't have to be a single entity? I really wish they would clarify more with these things, but let's move on. Whilst his willing prey ability significantly reduces LA melee defense and attack, leaving them vulnerable to a quick and agonizing death. I'm assuming this is going to be like one of those spells, well, abilities that you have on your character portrait. Anyways, this should still be quite interesting, because I don't think a lot of us expect a giant monster-sized character to be a duelist, and this is pretty much giving him duelist vibes. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see how it goes, though gameplay would be nice, you know? Next, we're getting a little bit of information regarding playstyle, and I'll be honest with you, this doesn't bode well because it doesn't look like we're going to get a detailed blog if they're giving us this already. Well, we're going to have to wait and see, but let's move on. Using their unparalleled speed and armor-piercing capabilities, Slaaneshi demons look to sow discontent among the enemy ranks through hit-and-run tactics, before isolating units and dealing a quick and final blow. Yeah, that's pretty much how they worked on the tabletop. It was always moving around quite quickly. This is why you had a lot of chariots and cavalry, so that's all cool. Now, let's carry on. Their armies gain battle currency by killing routing units, which can be used on free abilities, which accentuates their playstyle. Isn't that the same as the ogres? Yeah, I think it's the same as the ogres. Either way, let's move on. On the campaign map, factions of Slaanesh strive to spread the Dark Prince's hedonistic message at every turn. Their mechanics include Gifts of Slaanesh. Lords and heroes of Slaanesh can impart gifts on enemy characters by defeating them in battle or through hero actions, thus imposing a bundle of negative effects on the units. Oh, so if you beat them, or if you use a hero character through their actions, you're able to give them negative traits? That's pretty much how I'm understanding it, and that doesn't sound too bad. It means that you're going to have to use a lot more characters if you want more hero characters out there, and even then a lot of people don't use them. It depends obviously on how useful they are, but we're going to have to wait and see. This next one is called Seduction. By increasing seductive influence, the forces of Slaanesh can forcibly vassalize a target faction. I actually quite like that. That's not too bad. Obviously, we hear about that in the lore, where some towns and cities and stuff have fallen towards Slaanesh. So this could be quite interesting. I'm imagining it's only going to work on minor factions unless, like, you know, Karl Franz decides to get jiggy with it. But we're going to have to wait and see. It sounds cool. I wish that we had, like, some sort of screenshot. It would be very useful, but hey. And the final mechanic is Devotees. Slaaneshi armies can capture devotees from battles, from chaos cults, and from pleasurable acts. So I'm assuming that's another mechanic that they haven't told us about. Devotees are used for creating cults, the raising of disciple armies, and to create vassals. Okay, we definitely need to get a mechanics blog, like a detailed one, because there's like so much I want to ask about. Disciple armies? What? Like, come on, CA, please. Either way, everything sounds pretty interesting. I'm quite happy about this. Hopefully it won't be too long until we get more information, because that sounds really, really cool. Slaanesh looks like it's going to be quite varied. I want to see what type of effects we could give enemy characters by defeating them in battle and all that. I just want like 2 or 3 effects just to find out what it is. And then we've got a little bit of detail regarding the Slaaneshi roster, which is again weird. Why aren't we getting a separate blog? I really hope we will be, because there's a few things that I want to know about these units. An embodiment of their patron god, the demons of Slaanesh are vicious, gracious, and beguiling. Commanding their sinister armies are the imperious keepers of Slaanesh and the heralds of Slaanesh, whilst the core of their army is forced around cunning and deadly units such as demonettes and fiends, leaving the agile heartseekers and hellstriders to provide lightning-quick cavalry support. Yeah, most of us already kind of knew this. Details, variants, all that type of stuff. It's just, you know, we've had it for all the other gods, and this just kind of seems like we haven't had this style of blog for anyone else. So I'm just getting a little concerned. Christmas is coming around the corner. They're going to go on break, and, you know, details would be nice. Either way, the mechanics sound pretty cool. I'm just quite curious. Some screenshots would have been really, really, really nice just to get a little bit out of there. Hopefully it won't be too long until we get some more Slaaneshi news, because, well, we're still in the middle of the Troy promos and stuff, so I'm not sure if they're going to, like, stop fully right now and then carry on after the 14th. I guess we're going to have to just wait and see. So all in all, I think everything that's been shown off is quite cool. Keep in mind, obviously, this is just a trailer. I'm just, again, hoping that these animations will make it into the base game when we see the release, because, I mean, they look cool, don't they? I've been waiting for this for such a long time, though. It's not just because of Warhammer 3's announcement, it's just I wanted to play as a Slaaneshi faction since Warhammer 1. Sigvald didn't really count because we didn't have, well, you know, fiends and keepers and so on, because I was more of a demon player more than Warriors of Chaos, so I'm just really happy that we're finally getting them. But all in all, I think this is great. I think that's pretty much all the trailers. I don't know what they're going to do with the, like, secret 9th Legendary Lord, though. That's going to be quite interesting to see how they reveal whatever needs to get revealed. Like, everyone's already thinking Bellicle, because it kind of makes sense. Now, with all that being said, there is obviously a little bit of voice acting that happened during the trailer, so let's just recite that and see if we can get anything from it. Come to me, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Pleasure beyond imagining awaits you. Desire, pride, pain, excess in all things. Partake of perfection. Give yourself to the Dark Prince. Feast on the delights of this world. Submit to SLAANESH. So, this is important because it's talking about desire, pride, pain, and all those different things. It's because SLAANESH is a god of a lot of different things. Funny enough, SLAANESH is also a god of happiness, and you'll get a lot of that detail when I finally release that SLAANESH lore video, but it's not just sexual. Like, there's a lot more to SLAANESH. And the reason why it's important to talk about this is because they still have the stuff about pleasure too, which is important because, you know, a lot of SLAANESH lore was getting rewritten and so on, but it looks like they're keeping true to the format, true to the Warhammer fantasy feel of SLAANESH, which is a lot of different things, and I'm really happy about that. I was always kind of worried that Games Workshop might say, no, you need to change this a little bit or whatever, you know? Traditional Warhammer fantasy is very important to me because obviously what we're seeing in Warhammer 3 will also likely reflect in Old World, so if not much is being changed in that regard, I'm going to be really happy when the tabletop releases too. But until then, we've got a lot to discuss in the future, I imagine. I hope that the roster reveal isn't too far away. I really want to talk about a roster reveal because I want to get like confirmation about a few things. And now I finally have all the footage that I need for the eventual SLAANESH lore video. So until then, guys, you have a great day. The trailer will play out again because I've been rambling for what feels like 20 minutes or so, and you guys have probably forgotten what like the original trailer was at this point. So have a great day, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.
Brothers and sisters, rejoice. Pleasure beyond imagining awaits you. Desire, pride, pain, excess in all things. Partake of perfection. Give yourself to the Dark Prince. Feast on the delights of this world. Submit to SLAANESH.
But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.